welcome back to the Essential Owl. Erin here to make another cold processed soap. You can probably see over in this corner is the frankincense and myrrh soap that I made just a few moments ago. And when I say a few moments, I mean literally maybe 10 minutes has elapsed between then and now. And the next soap that I am making is a favorite from last year, a customer favorite. We are making Jingle Bells today. You might have seen Jingle Bells last year. If you did, fantastic. We're going to try to replicate as closely as we can. If you didn't, I highly recommend you watch that because it is always interesting to see how a soap is going to change, even if it's unintentionally. I still plan on sticking to the basic design. I actually had to make 2 batches of this last year because the first batch sold out within a few days. And I had customers asking me, where's the soap? Because I don't see it anywhere. And I had to rush and make another batch very quickly. Those ended up being a little bit later than normal to those customers, but they understood because it did sell out very quickly. There wasn't a whole lot that I could do about it. But the base of this soap is red, and there is a gold swirl. And I've been doing a hanger swirl with it because we're using this fragrance oil right here. This is Applejack Peel fragrance oil from Brambleberry. This was a brand new bottle. I just got this today. I had to order more because I used it all on the Applejack Peel custom order soap like 1 video ago. So I'm sorry that we're using a repeat fragrance oil, but the soap is different. As I was saying, it's a red base with a gold hanger swirl, and then the top is dusted with gold mica, and I'm going to try and get a full sheen of gold mica across the top rather than little dusty bits. And I'm not really sure how to describe it better than that, but I don't really have anything else to say. I know that my table is busy and dirty, and I apologize. That's just how I soap, you guys. I'm messy and not very clean when it comes to doing this. I do all my cleaning after if I have multiple batches because it makes no sense for me in particular to clean in between soap batches because I'm just going to make a dang mess. So without further ado, let's jump right into the making of this soap. Alrighty, you guys, that is all the mixing I'm going to be able to do with the stick blender. You can see how thick this is getting already. I mentioned this with the last video that Applejack Peel, for whatever reason, always, always, always accelerates on me, even though it says that it behaves very well in cold processed soap. I have yet to figure out a way to actually make it behave well in cold processed soap, but that's okay because this fragrance is worth it. I will never tell you to stay away from a fragrance oil that you feel is worth it. And to me, this is one of those. But I am going to move a little bit quickly from this point on, just because it will get so thick that I can't do anything with it, and I want to avoid that. So I am just scraping down the sides and the bottoms of both of these containers to try to make sure that there are no uncolored bits of soap and that there are no giant chunks of mica. You can see how thick that is. I mean, it went from being pretty fluid. I barely got it to emulsification because I tried to make it as fluid as possible, but you see how that turned out. Now this red portion you might have saw. Let me scoot this over so you guys can see. I'm gonna spoon and then I'm gonna hanger, and I'm gonna be moving quickly because this does set up so quickly. But in the red, this is colored with the really red pigment powder as well as some ruby red mica powder, because that worked very, very well in the Christmas spice soap. I really liked how that turned out. Oh goodness, this gold is hard, you guys. Okay, I'm going to move very, very, very quickly here because this soap just does not behave at all. And this is why I've never tried to do anything more elaborate with this fragrance, because it would be impossible. 100% impossible. Okay, now I'm going to get more of this red in there. I know this looks like a hot mess now, but this soap is so pretty when it's done and all put together. I'm sort of smushing it all down in there. Make sure I got a good, nice layer of red. And I think this is going to call for more than my poor little hanger tool. So I'm going to go in with my dowel because I think it's going to be the only thing strong enough to actually swirl this. I don't know what kind of swirl I'm going to get here, to be totally honest, but I'm going to try. That sounds marvelous, doesn't it? And I'll turn it around this other way. Try to make sure I'm getting every bit of it all the way to the bottom. Okay. And now I am going to attempt to bang this down on the floor. So now, I told you guys the soap is difficult, but it is so worth it. So what I'm going to attempt to do now, because it is stiff, but I think I'm going to be able to texture the top at least a little bit. I am going to use this little measuring spoon that I have handy and just texture the top a little bit. It doesn't have to be perfect because it's going to get covered up with mica, but I do want to give it a little bit of something. Sorry if this is shaking the camera. I'm sure that it is. I apologize. It's just how it's going to be because the soap is so thick. Okay, so I've got the soap as textured as I think it's going to be. I have taken my gloves off because I don't plan on touching the soap or the mold again. Now we're going to do the top, and I am going to be using this. This is Shimmer Gold Mica in these Nurture Soap glitter slash mica spritzers. These things are so cool. I actually haven't used this yet. I've had this for several months and I just never used it, but I thought this would be the perfect opportunity to try to get as even as a mica coating as we can. And I also wanted to go back because I was in such a rush. I didn't get to finish what I was saying about the colorants, I don't think. So the base is a mixture of ruby red mica and the really red mica powder, both from Nurture Soap. I think that gives a very lovely, deep but red. And then the swirl is mostly Shimmer Gold Mica with just a touch of Maya Gold to sort of deepen it. In the past, it comes off a little bit yellow when I use just the Shimmer Gold by itself. So I wanted to add just a little bit of the Maya to deepen that into a surefire gold color. I'm really hoping that this thing turned out well. And now that I have said that I'm not going to touch it again, I'm going to slip my gloves on really quickly and carefully. I'm going to try to bang this on the floor one more time. It is pretty much solid at this point. So if there are any air bubbles in there, I'm hoping that I was able to get most of them out and squish most of it down. But if there are any more air bubbles in it at this point, that's just how it's going to have to be. That soap is not moving an inch. So now I am going to spritz gold mica, this gold shimmer mica, across the top, just like this. And I might actually go back in and dust it with my little strainer as well, because this is giving a pretty gold sheen to the soap, but I didn't want to fill it up too terribly much because I might want to use it for another glitter later. But I feel like if I wanted to only use this for gold, this would definitely work. And if you just want a very light dusting, you guys, you can't really beat these little mica dusters. Okay, before I move on any further, I'm going to give this a spritz with rubbing alcohol. That's going to lock in that mica, and it's also going to spread it out a little bit, which is kind of the point. I'm trying to get a solid sheen of gold on here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to open up the Shimmer Gold Mica, and with a popsicle stick, I'm just going to put a little bit into my strainer, and I'll go over it as many times as necessary. And we're just going to dust the entire top, Try not to get too much all over the table and all over the sides of the mold, but if it happens, it happens. I'm also trying to make this even. I'm not expecting it to be completely even, but that's what we've got the rubbing alcohol for. And I can make several passes. So now I'm going to take the rubbing alcohol and spray it just like that. You see how it's kind of moving that mica around? That's what we're going for. So I'm just going to do this until I'm satisfied with it. I will speed through this part of the video because it's going to be a little bit boring. You can skip forward now if you would like to. Let's bring you all in for a close-up. So this is what we've got going on. I'm sorry that the lighting is not very desirable. There we go, that shifted a little bit. So you can see I've got a solid sheen, a solid little thin layer of mica on the top, and it will thin down even more once that alcohol evaporates. I'll probably spray it a couple more times as well. I wanted to let just a little bit evaporate off so that I wouldn't get too much pooling on top, P-O-O-L-I-N-G on top, but it is marvelous. There's not very much red coming through, which is exactly what I wanted, and it's very shimmery and sparkly and wonderful, and oh, I love this soap so much. And for any of you that are wondering, this mica will not stay on your skin. Glitter, mica, all that fun stuff, it does not stay on your skin. It washes off, so don't worry about that. It's not going to make you glittery. So, that's all that I have for this portion of the video. I will see you all for the cut. We are back to cut the Jingle Bells soap, and there's a couple of things that I want to say before I get started. Yes, there are some little pits and things like that. As you all just saw, this soap always misbehaves, and this is probably the worst that it has ever done this. It thickened up a lot faster and hardened up a lot faster than it did even the last time that I made it. And that's just how it is. I'm hoping the inside will be nice. If not, I'll make another batch and sell these at a discount or give them to friends or family. But this is one of my favorite soaps to make because the fragrance is just so good. And yes, it's a struggle every time I make this soap, but I still love it anyway. So, I'm not really going to bother showing you all the sides because there are some fairly shallow pits and even a fairly large one there. So that might be a rather big air bubble, which is unfortunate, but I did all I could to try to salvage it. But I do want to show you all how this top turned out. Isn't that pretty? Just that solid gold sheen on there. And I did spritz liberally with rubbing alcohol in between layers. So I wanted to show you all, if I rub very, very, very minimal mica sticks to my fingers. So that just further showcases the importance of spraying mica dustings or anything like that with rubbing alcohol once you have got everything the way that you like it, because that really locks the mica to the soap rather than it just sitting on top. So let's go ahead and start cutting and see what the damage is. Okay, so there's the back. Looks like we might have got a little bit of swirling, probably not too much. And there is the inside. So you can see the swirls here. There is an air bubble here. I did what I could to try to get it out, but it looks like for the most part, the soap survived. So this batch of Jingle Bells didn't turn out particularly well, but it also isn't as bad as I expected, to be honest. So I'll count that as a sort of success. And you can see at the top, I'm starting to drag a little bit of mica through the soap. So I am going to turn this soap on its side as I continue to cut. So I hope the further into the middle of the soap, the better, the less bubbles we'll have, but we will just see. So there's one side, that beautiful top, and the other. So the air bubbles are getting smaller, which is great. Not the best swirl, but I did what I could with what I had. So, but you guys, I'm telling you, even though this soap might not have turned out the prettiest this time, it still smells absolutely wonderful. It smells amazing. I absolutely love this fragrance, and I will continue using it no matter how much of a pain in the butt it makes these soaps. So there's one side and the other. So there is an air bubble there. It's not as deep as I expected, but it is a fairly deep one. There's the top. Oh, it smells like apple cider in here. I love it. Love, love, love. So there's one side and the other. The top. Oops. So there is one side. The other. Oh, that swirl is interesting. And the top. Shimmer, shimmer, shimmer. So there's one side. The other. Oh, I actually do really like that swirl. Look at that. The top. So there's one side. The other. Starting to get into a little bit more bubbles now. Top. I cannot get over this fragrance. It is so good. I actually have some apple cider spice in my cabinet right now in my pantry that smells exactly how this soap smells, and it's kind of tripping me up a little bit. It's really making me want to go and fix up a big batch of that. Okay, almost down to our final cut now. So there's one side, the other, the top. And I will cut some off of the back of this one. So there's a little piece that I will be keeping for myself or adding to a sample. This is the final bar. So a lot of gold on that side, but I really like the swirl on this side. And there is the top. So that is all that I have for you all in this video. Tell me what you think down below. I know this one didn't turn out the best, and if you all just start super hating on me in the comments, I completely understand. But you know what? This soap is wonderful. I still think it's pretty despite having a couple of cosmetic flaws, but it smells great. It feels great on the skin. It's packed full of kaolin clay, so it feels great on the skin. It smells amazing, and it's just, it's if not my #1 favorite, then very, very, very close. But tell me what you think down below. If you like this video, please give me a thumbs up, subscribe, tell me about your day, just say hello, tell me what your holiday plans are. What are you expecting, or hoping, I should say, to get for Christmas? Let me know down below. I love hearing from you guys. It absolutely makes my day. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I will see you in the next one. Merry Christmas, everybody. Bye-bye.